Hey, skill setters, it is Mitch. It is about 20 minutes to 9 on Saturday morning, the 22nd of May, 2021. And I wanted to record this quick video to highlight a disturbing trend that I've seen in BiggerPockets that I just want to make sure that you are all aware of. This is my BiggerPockets profile. That's my smiling face right there. You'll notice that it has me identified as pro, which means I have paid extra to get the benefits and privileges of a pro membership. I believe I don't know, it's $100 a month. I'm not really sure. But it is an indicator, or at least it's intended to be an indicator of seriousness on BiggerPockets. The people who have pro accounts are perceived to be the serious people. And since BiggerPockets is selling memberships, they would love to have more people be pro. I noticed this week. I was working in a thread. I'll click to it here. Someone had actually, it's a member of the group. I had posted this I am shaking in my boots post, which I thought was an incredibly brave post. This is Robert Williams. Incredibly brave post, and I responded to it, and it's gotten quite a few replies. You can see 66 replies in 3 days, which is pretty good for BiggerPockets. But I want to direct your attention to something in particular. So that's Robert's initial post. This is my response. You'll see my little pro down there. And then we kind of go back and forth. And a few people jump in, but you'll see Kyle Parks is a pro, and Kyle is in there interacting quite a bit. And there's lots of interaction here. There's lots of back and forth, which is good. You have a premium here. And so you get the idea. Dave E is a pro. Here's my concern. It is entirely possible that this is benign and not calculated, but I doubt it. Here's the deal. I'm not pro. Even though it says pro here, I stopped paying for the pro membership, I think back in March, maybe. Certainly March or April, but I'm not paying for pro. And when I stopped paying for pro, I lost this little pro designation on my picture immediately. And then just in this last couple of days, maybe this last week or two, it's come back. And I haven't gotten pro privileges. So you'll notice if I try to do pro things like, I don't know, cert. Well, you see here it says reactivate pro. That's because I don't have pro. If it lets you see my actual profile, you'll see that I am not pro. This is my profile. And let's see, settings maybe. And payments. Yeah, you see I did pro in 2020, but it ended in 2021. So it would have ended a year later. March 5th, 2021 would have been when it ended, and I did not renew it. So I am not pro right now. So you might ask, well, then why is BiggerPockets bestowing upon me this great honor and privilege of pro? They're not doing it for my benefit. They're doing it for your benefit. And that's why I want you to be aware. BiggerPockets sells pro memberships. Looks like $300 and some odd a year. And there's this concept, you've heard it before, you've seen it before in action. It's the herd mentality, or normalized behavior. Basically, when we see other people doing things, we figure, well, if they're doing it, then that must be the right thing to do, so I should do it too. And so they are gifting, at least in my case, they're gifting me with pro designation because I'm active in groups and I'm active on the forums. And I think they're thinking if people see that I'm active, they'll go, well, gosh, if he's active and he's pro, then maybe I should be pro. Again, I could be completely wrong with this, but there's no reason for them to go back into my profile and give me pro. I lost this back in March. The minute I stopped making the additional payments, and it dropped down to a free account, I lost my pro designation. So it seems highly unlikely that they would go back and add the pro designation just as by accident. It's possible, but I doubt it. I think that this is a calculated move to get people to think, well, gosh, I should be pro. Everybody's pro except me. Let me go off there and pay for pro. So I just want you to be aware of it. Again, if I'm completely off base, I'm sure someone from BiggerPockets will reach out to me. But we can all agree, I am not pro. I should not have this designation here. I did not do anything to put it there. They put it there, and they put it there, in my opinion, for a reason. And the reason is to attract unsuspecting people to think, well, gosh, if I'm going to be serious, I have to go get pro. The more people that have pro, the more normalized that behavior becomes, the more attractive it becomes to people who don't have pro to pay for it. So don't fall for the trap. If you want to get pro, you should get it. For my purposes, you might know I've had a little bit of a rocky relationship with BiggerPockets of late. Last August, I was banned from the messaging system. In fact, I can show you. When I try to go to inbox, it gives me, let's see, yeah, it gives me that. You've been banned from the messaging system. I've been banned because I talked about the Skillset training group, which of course is a free Facebook group, not in the forums, but in my direct messages. And as a result of that, I got banned. That's fine. It's their system. They can do it the way they want. But my point is, because I couldn't access direct messages and I can access the forums for free, I decided, you know what, I don't really need to pay for pro. So I stopped my pro membership back in March. In my opinion, unless you're going to put it to serious work, pro is probably unnecessary. But you've got to decide for yourself. But don't decide because you see a lot of other people with pro, because many of those people may not actually be pro. They may have just been given the designation so that you'll think that everybody's pro except you. So be careful. Don't fall for the trap, and make your decision based on what you actually want and what you're going to do with it, not because everybody's doing it. All right, that was it. Well, actually, one last thing. I will say that there is a parallel. There's a tie to this, between this and the state of real estate in general. And I was going to I'll make this point in a separate video, but I'll make it here just in case anyone sticks around for the end of this. And that is, right now we're seeing a lot of foolish things taking place in the marketplace. People are paying well over fair market value for properties. They're buying properties without an inspection contingency clause, which in my opinion is insane. They are agreeing to pay over appraisal in cash, which in my opinion is insane. And I'm okay with people doing that if they're going to live in the house. If you're an owner occupant and you found your dream home that you're going to spend the next 20 years in, and you want to spend a little bit more money for it, by all means, do your thing. But if you're an investor, and if your job is to find quality real estate investments, then unless you tell me that your numbers work if you pay $30,000 more, then you are setting yourself for disaster just because you're doing what everybody else is doing. You're falling for the trap of, well, they're doing it, you're normalizing their behavior. They do it, so I should do it. If they're going to bid $10,000 over asking, I'm going to bid $20,000 over asking. And if someone else bids 20, I'm going to bid 30. And that's how disaster strikes. So what should dictate how much you pay is the analysis of the deal. And that's not going to change based on what other people are doing. What other people are bidding has nothing to do with how I analyze a deal. If my analysis says that I can only pay 120, that's all I'm paying. I don't care if anyone else is willing to pay 150. I'm not. And if you are willing to stick to your guns, then you'll be fine. However, a lot of people are getting caught up in the frenzy, and they're going to regret it later when they realize that that house for 150 doesn't make sense as an investment. So much like BiggerPockets wants to fool you into thinking that there are tons of people out there who have pro, many of whom, like myself, aren't paying for it and don't really have pro. I don't have pro, just to be clear. I just have the pro designation in my picture. They didn't give me pro privileges. It's not like they gave me something for pro. When I try to click these pro-only things, yeah, it's not available to me. So I don't have pro. Let's be clear. They didn't give me pro. They're not like granting me pro access. They're just putting the designation there, not for my benefit, because I know I'm not pro. It's for people who see me active in the groups who go, wow, Mitch is pro. If Mitch is a pro, maybe I should be a pro. And it's not just, I suspect it's not just me. So it's just like they're hoping that you'll fall for that trick and become pro because everybody else appears to be. A lot of people are investing because a lot of other folks are paying more for properties than they should, and they figure, well, if they're paying more and they're okay, then I'll pay more and I'll be okay. And that's not how it works. Anyway, that's my my rant for today. Hopefully that makes sense. Post below in the comments if you have seen an increase in the number of pros, or if you've had this happen to you, or if you have any comments in general about people going crazy with respect to real estate. Thanks for listening.